I bring to you this heart-touching story of a young billionaire who came across a poor single mother standing on the road carrying her 10-month-old baby while it was raining. Watch till the end. You will learn a great life lesson from this story. It was a cold and rainy Monday morning in Lagos. The sky was moody and the downpour relentless. Most people stayed indoors, but not Lezza, a young billionaire with a reputation for being highly disciplined and hard-working. Normally, Lezza never left his house when it rained. He had a traumatic experience some years ago when a terrible flood almost swept his car away as he returned from work. Since then, he made it a rule to stay home whenever it rained. But this morning was different. Lezza had a very important meeting with representatives from his Canadian company branch. They had flown into Lagos for a strategic meeting to discuss the company's expansion into the United Kingdom. It was too important to miss. So, despite the rain and his inner fear, Lezza stepped out of his mansion and got into his black Mercedes SUV, heading for the office. On the way, as his driver carefully maneuvered through the flooded streets, something caught Lezza's attention. He saw a woman standing by the side of the road, drenched in rain, carrying a small baby who couldn't have been more than 10 months old. Shocked, he exclaimed, "What is this? Why is this woman carrying a small baby in this kind of rain?" His driver glanced over and casually replied, "Olga, it must be one of those beggars that use children to beg for money." But Lezza kept looking at her. Something about the woman's posture didn't seem like that of a beggar trying to gain pity. It looked like someone who had lost all hope. "Stop the car," Lezza instructed. The driver pulled over and Lezza wound down his window. "Hello," he called out gently. "It's not good that you're standing in this rain with that small child. You're putting the child in danger and yourself too. Where are you going?" "Sorry, my name is Lezza. What's your name?" The woman hesitated. In her heart, she believed rich people didn't help the poor. They only looked, shook their heads, and drove off. But there was something kind and sincere in this man's voice. "My name is Rebecca," she replied softly. Lezza nodded. "Please, come inside the car." Rebecca hesitated again, clutching her baby tighter. She was afraid, but finally she entered the car, still unsure of what would happen next. Lezza turned to her and asked, "Madam, where do you live? Where are you going in this rain?" She looked down and then answered with tears in her eyes, "I don't have anywhere I'm going. I just came out to see if anyone would give me something to feed my baby. I haven't eaten in 2 days." Lezza was stunned. He had heard stories like this before, but hearing it directly from the mouth of a struggling mother hit differently. He took a deep breath and said, "Let's go to the nearest restaurant so you and your baby can eat something." Rebecca looked at him in disbelief, then nodded slowly. "Thank you, sir," she whispered. When they got to the restaurant, Lezza ordered hot rice and chicken for her, and he made sure there was something soft for the baby, too. Rebecca ate quietly, her eyes filled with tears. She hadn't eaten such food in a long time, and even her baby smiled for the first time in days. After the meal, Lezza leaned back and asked gently, "Rebecca, please, what happened? Where is the father of your child?" At that question, Rebecca broke down completely. She began to cry as she shared her story. She told Lezza about Daniel, the man she fell in love with, who promised her forever. When she got pregnant, Daniel was overjoyed. He promised to go to the village and speak with his parents about marrying her. He told her that his mother said over her dead body would he marry someone from Rebecca's tribe. His father, too, rejected the idea. After that conversation, she didn't hear from Daniel again. He abandoned me and the pregnancy. I have called him so many times, but he doesn't pick. After some days, his phone number stopped going. Rebecca said she had done everything possible to hear from Daniel, all to no avail. She cried as she spoke, her voice breaking with pain and disappointment. The pregnancy, she said, was the toughest season of her life. There were nights she thought she wouldn't survive. The sickness nearly killed her, and she had no one to turn to, not even family. A kind neighbor, whom she described as her angel, helped her during the delivery of her baby girl. But after giving birth, things became worse. She couldn't pay her rent anymore, and her landlord, without pity, threw her out. With nowhere else to go, she packed her few belongings and kept them under a bridge. That was where she had been staying since then, under a cold, dirty bridge with her child. She said hunger had become her closest friend. She could endure it, but what hurt her the most was watching her baby girl cry endlessly with nothing to eat. That pain was killing her slowly. As she told her story, Lezza was silent. He didn't interrupt. He simply listened with a heavy heart. He had never imagined that someone could go through such darkness and still be standing. When she finished, Lezza looked her in the eyes and said, gently, "It's okay. I promise you, things will be fine now. You and your daughter won't suffer again. I will change your life for good." Rebecca broke down again, but this time it was tears of relief. She covered her mouth with her palm and wept silently, whispering prayers and blessings toward Lezza. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. Lezza then asked her, "Do you have a phone I can use to reach you later?" Rebecca shook her head. "No, sir, I don't." Without saying another word, Lezza reached for his wallet and gave her enough money to buy a phone. Then he asked his driver to pass a pen and paper to Rebecca so she could write down his number. He recited his number slowly while she scribbled it down carefully. Afterward, he handed her some more cash and said, "Use this to buy some clothes and food for yourself and your daughter. You deserve a fresh start." Rebecca looked at the money in her hands and broke down in gratitude again. "God will bless you, sir. God will bless you endlessly," she kept saying. Lezza smiled gently and said, "Take care of yourself and your baby. I'll be waiting to hear from you." His driver started the car, and as they drove off, Rebecca waved at the vehicle until it disappeared down the road. Her heart was filled with so much joy she almost didn't know how to contain it. She turned to the restaurant attendant and said, "Please give me one more plate of food. I need to feed well today. It's been so long since I felt this full." After eating, she cleaned her baby's mouth, gathered her few things, and made her way to the nearest phone stand. She asked to buy a small phone, something simple, just enough to make calls. She paid for it and stepped aside to insert the SIM card. As she held the phone in her hands, she felt like someone who had just been reborn. She looked at the time. It was almost 5 p.m. "I'll wait till evening," she told herself. "He'll be done with work by then." Finally, as the sun began to set, she brought out the small sheet of paper where she wrote Lezza's number. She opened the new phone and slowly dialed the digits. Her hands were shaking. Her heart was beating faster. She pressed the green call button and placed the phone to her ear. But then came a voice that shattered her soul. "The number you have dialed is incorrect. Please check the number and dial again." She blinked, stared at the phone. No, it can't be," she said aloud. She dialed it again, this time more carefully. "The number you have dialed is incorrect. Please check the number and dial again." Her hands began to shake. She brought out the paper and stared at the number again. That's when it hit her. She had made a mistake while writing it down. Maybe she missed a digit, or swapped two numbers. She couldn't tell. Her knees went weak. She sat on the ground beside the phone stand, holding her baby tightly, as tears rolled down her cheeks. She didn't even know Lezza's surname, didn't know where his office was, didn't know anyone who knew him. Rebecca shouted and kept asking herself what kind of mistake she must have made. Could it be that Lezza gave me a wrong number? She wondered. No, no. I know it must have been a mistake from me, she said again, shaking her head. She couldn't stop blaming herself. She sat still for a moment, staring at the ground as her baby slept on her back. Then suddenly, she stood up. I will go back to the same spot I met him, she said to herself. Maybe, just maybe he might pass that road again. Or maybe he'll stop at the restaurant again. With her decision made, she backed her baby, held her little bag, and returned to the road where it had all started. She stood there quietly from morning till noon under the hot sun. Every time a black SUV passed, her heart skipped a beat. She would stretch her neck, hoping it was Lezza, but again and again, it wasn't him. She stayed there until about 5 p.m. Her legs were hurting, her back was sore, her baby was getting restless. She gave up and went back to the restaurant. With tears in her eyes, she approached the restaurant owner and pleaded, "Please, sir, if you happen to see that man that helped me 2 days ago, tell him I lost his number by mistake. I didn't mean to." The restaurant owner, touched by her story, nodded. "Don't worry. If he comes back here, I will surely let him know." Rebecca thanked him and walked slowly back to her sleeping spot under the bridge. But when she arrived, her heart sank. Some burglars had broken into her small makeshift space and stolen some of her few remaining belongings. Her spare baby clothes were gone. Even the small food items she had bought with Lezza's money were nowhere to be found. She fell to the ground and cried bitterly. "Will I ever come out of this situation?" she wept. "Why did I make such a mistake with the number? Why now?" That night, she couldn't sleep. She lay on the bare ground, hugging her baby tightly. The mosquitoes bit her, but she didn't care. Her mind was filled with only one prayer, that she would somehow see Lezza again. Early the next morning, before the sun was up, she bathed her baby with sachet water and went back to the road. She stood there again, this time with more hope than before. At exactly 7:15 a.m., a black SUV approached. Her heart beat faster. She could feel something inside her chest. This one felt different. She moved closer to the road and shouted, "Hello, sir! It's me, Rebecca! Please stop! Please stop!" Inside the car, Lezza's head was buried in his phone, replying to urgent emails. But his driver saw her waving. The driver quickly said, "Olga, this is the woman you helped 2 days ago, the one with the baby." Lezza immediately looked up. "Where is she?" he asked quickly. The driver pointed and Lezza leaned over and looked through the window. He recognized her instantly. "Stop the car," he said. The SUV stopped and Lezza wound down the glass. "Rebecca!" he called out. "What happened? Why didn't you call me? I've been waiting." Rebecca rushed to the window, almost in tears again. "I'm so sorry, sir. I didn't write your number well. I tried to call you, but it kept saying the number was incorrect." Lezza looked at her with empathy. "Oh, sorry about that," he said kindly. "How have you been since then?" Rebecca explained how she went back to the road, how she waited and even went to the restaurant, and how her things were stolen under the bridge. But in the middle of it all, she smiled and brought out her small phone. "Look, sir, I bought the phone like you said. I've been waiting just to see you again." Lezza smiled, relieved that fate brought them back together. "Good. This time, let me type the number into your phone myself." Rebecca quickly handed him the small phone, and Lezza carefully typed in his number and saved it. "Make sure you call me this evening when I'm back from work," he said as the car prepared to move again. "I will, sir, I will," she said joyfully. "God bless you." As Lezza's car drove off, Rebecca held the phone to her chest. This time, she wasn't going to make a mistake. That evening, she called him, and this time the call went through. They spoke for a long time, and Lezza asked her gently, "Rebecca, what would you like me to do for you? Anything that can help you and your baby?" Rebecca didn't ask for too much. "Sir, even if you can just help me open a small provision shop, I will be happy." I can start my life again from there. Lezza smiled and said, "No problem. Let's meet this weekend and plan it out properly." That weekend, Rebecca dressed in the best clothes she had and followed the address Lezza sent her. When she arrived, she stood still for a moment, blown away by the sight of the luxurious house Lezza lived in. Rebecca was warmly welcomed by one of Lezza's domestic workers who had been expecting her. With a friendly smile, the woman said, "Madam, welcome. Oga told me about you. He said when you come, I should bring you in immediately." Rebecca smiled shyly, feeling a mixture of excitement and nervousness. As she stepped into the house, she couldn't believe her eyes. The living room was nothing short of breathtaking. Marble floors, glittering chandeliers, expensive art pieces, and furniture that looked like something out of a royal palace. She sat gently on the edge of the chair, still trying to process how someone could live in such luxury. After a few minutes, Lezza came into the parlor dressed in a simple but elegant outfit. The moment Rebecca saw him, she quickly knelt down to greet him out of respect. But Lezza, wearing a warm smile, gently asked her to stand. "Please don't kneel," he said kindly. "You're like a sister to me now. Sit down and feel comfortable." Rebecca obeyed and sat down properly. Soon after, Lezza's chef came in and served her a delicious meal. The aroma alone made her feel like royalty. Lezza made sure she felt at home, treating her with genuine kindness and respect. As they ate and talked, Lezza opened up about his own story, something he rarely shared with anyone. He told Rebecca how he lost his mother shortly after he became successful. She had suffered so much to train him and his younger brother, who now lived in Australia. He said it broke his heart that she never lived to enjoy the fruit of her labor. "I always wished I could bring her back," Lezza said softly. "She deserved to live like a queen, but life didn't give her the chance." Rebecca listened quietly, touched by his words. It made her see a deeper side of him, a man with a soft heart who understood pain and loss just like she did. As evening approached, Lezza suddenly said, "Come with me. I want to take you somewhere." Rebecca stood up, not knowing what to expect. She followed him quietly, her baby strapped to her back. A few minutes later, they arrived at a beautiful 3-bedroom apartment located in a peaceful, well-secured estate. The compound was clean, the environment quiet, and the building looked newly finished. "This is it," Lezza said. Rebecca looked around, confused. "Sir, is this where you want to rent for me?" she asked innocently. Lezza smiled and handed her a bunch of keys. "No, Rebecca, I'm not renting it for you. I bought it. This house belongs to you. It's your home now." Rebecca stood frozen, unable to speak. It took a few seconds for his words to register in her heart. When they did, she fell to the floor and burst into tears, hot, overwhelming tears of joy. She rolled on the ground, crying and thanking Lezza again and again. "God bless you, sir. God bless you. I will never forget this day." But the surprise wasn't over yet. Lezza helped her up and said, "There's one more place I want to show you." He took her to another location, a busy street not far from her new home. There stood a medium-sized but well-stocked supermarket, newly branded and ready for business. "This is yours too," Lezza said. "Your own business. I've handled everything. Registration, inventory, licenses. All you need to do is run it and grow it." At that point, Rebecca couldn't control herself anymore. She broke down again, her knees hitting the floor. But this time, her tears weren't from pain, but from overwhelming gratitude. She had gone from begging under a bridge to owning a house and a business all in the space of weeks. Lezza lifted her gently and said, "God used me to bless you, Rebecca, and I will keep supporting you until you fully stand on your feet." True to his word, Lezza stood by her. He arranged for a nanny to help care for her baby, connected her to business mentors, and kept in touch with her regularly. Rebecca moved into her new home, opened her supermarket, and within a short time, business began to flourish. Her story changed completely. She walked with pride and confidence. Her daughter was now healthy and smiling every day. Life had truly turned around. 1 month later, just when she thought nothing could surprise her anymore, she received a phone call. It was from Daniel, the man who had abandoned her during her pregnancy. His voice was shaky. "Rebecca, I heard you're now a big woman. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Please forgive me. I want to come back to your life. I want to be part of our daughter's life." Rebecca held the phone and stared at the wall, her heart filled with mixed emotions. If you were Rebecca, would you forgive Daniel and take him back? Drop your opinion in the comment section. Like and subscribe to my channel for another heat-felt story.